So we're coming to the end of the season, and we're coming to that time where everything is decided for titles, for Champions League titles, for end of season awards. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But an individual award is what is on the agenda. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a glazing episode of Bruno Fernandes. Now, I know that he is actually, look, there's division with everyone. Some people think that he's not all that. But you've seen over the last few months, and especially over the course of the season in general, wherever Bruno Fernandes has played, he's been super effective. Bruno Fernandes, for me, has to be player of the season. And a vote or an opportunity to vote came into my inbox earlier this week. The Football Writers Association Awards will go out. The opportunity to vote has been put out there by the FWA. I think the deadline is May 6th to put your votes in. It's April the 3rd at the moment. I already know which way I am voting. Bruno Fernandes, for me, is player of the year. And Adam Joseph is joining me to offer some statistics and some reasons why Bruno Fernandes is unequivocally the best player in the Premier League this season. Welcome back to the show, Adam.
Thank you. So I was really curious. So when you think of Footballer of the Year, Player of the Season, so I think about awards across multiple sports. I follow the NFL, the NBA, AFL here in Australia. And so we have in Australia, we have the Brownlow, which is voted on by umpires. We have the AFL PA MVP, which is voted on, by the coaches, by the players. And then there's the Coaches Award. And the criteria ultimately is we're crowning the best player. Whereas I feel like if you go through the recent history of Footballer of the Year, we tend to crown just a player on the best team. And in America, I would say in the NFL, winning and whatnot has a little bit of an impact on that. Being the number one seed for the playoffs in the NBA helps a lot. But for example, right now, for my beloved Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from my OKC Thunder, he also happens to be the best player on the best team, but he's also arguably the best player in the NBA right now for a variety of reasons, but we're not going to get into that. But you can't say that for Declan Rice, and you can't say that for anyone at Arsenal. And for you, actually, with 5 weeks before your vote is due, is there anything that Declan Rice or, say, a Gabriel or anyone at Arsenal, is there anything they can do to change your vote?
I've got to say, enough of the season has gone by already. We're, 31 games in as we record this? I think it's 31 games. I'm not stating
80%
at all
of the way.
Declan Rice is a fantastic footballer, and I think he is one. You can't have more than one heartbeat, can you? But if there was one player that I would call the heartbeat of the Arsenal team, it would be him. But we know that Arsenal team is built on, whatever you say about their football, they are a unit, they are a team, and I don't think that there is efficiency.
It's a collective strength, right? So the difference for me, sorry, I've completely cut you off. I'm into advocating already. It's that Bruno at times drags United across the line. He'll put them on his back and get them out of a tough scenario where they're a goal down and get them back into the game, or create something out of nowhere to get them a goal when it doesn't look like they're going to score one. I don't feel like Arsenal do the same thing, except for when maybe they rugby scrum at corners, which is really a collective effort. That is representative of what Arsenal do. They're this efficient, brutal unit, and it might not be attractive at times, but they'll bully you out of it. It's a completely different thing, and that for me is a credit to them and the unit they are as a team. But it's also why Bruno Fernandes is the Footballer of the Year.
There's two awards. Obviously, there's the Football Writers Association Award, which is the one that myself and many others have the chance to vote on. And there's I think it's the Players Player, right? The Players Player of the Year. Maybe there's going to be some kind of difference in how the players receive this information or take it in. And I can understand from that perspective that Declan Rice is probably a monster to play against. But in terms of, like you say, individual impact on a team, I think it's unequivocally Bruno Fernandes. I really do. You only have to look at the numbers. You only have to look at the impact that he has wherever he's playing on the pitch. And we are looking here at a large chunk of this season. He was playing alongside Casemiro as a number 6/8. And we know that that was the time in the season where his deficiencies And there are some. I'm not saying that he's absolutely perfect, but his deficiencies were shown up more. But his numbers and his impact on the team from that position was still massive. And his defensive numbers and his duels were like, I think he was leading charts, like even under Ruben Amorim, right? And now he's moved into his strongest position in the team under Michael Carrick. And we know the statistics that are out there. We know his impact on the team. He's out there just with a swagger. He's still getting assists. I think it's 8 goals, 16 assists that he's got this season. We spoke about the 20 assists record held by Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry, which is potentially in his sights over the last 7 games. I think he can do it. Whether he gets it done or not is anybody's guess, but he's winning March Premier League Player of the Month as well. And that puts him joint second all time. 6 Player of the Month awards, joint second most in league history with Ronaldo and Gerrard. And the record ever is held by 3 players with 7, Salah, Kane, and Aguero. So he could even, there's 2 Player of the Month awards for the season left, right? He could even, if he keeps it going, he could even oust them this season. And if he stays, I think that's something that he can look at down the line as being, that's an attainable individual award for me as well. But he's just doing so well over the international break. He's putting back heels in for Portuguese players to score. And I think he's better than he's ever been at the moment. And I think, like we've already said it, but his impact on this Manchester United team is far and away bigger than any other individual's impact on a team in the Premier League for me, in a positive sense.
The way I think about it is, who is the most valuable player to their team? And then the answer is so obvious that it is Bruno Fernandes. I mean, should I rattle through some numbers now?
You can go for it. Go for it. 24 total goal contributions. We'll start with the basics. He leads all midfielders in total goals and assists this season in all competitions, combined statistics, even though he's only played in 2. He came off, I don't know if he came off the bench against Grimsby, and maybe he came off the bench against Brighton. I mean, he's effectively only played in 1 competition and still done that. He's on pace to finish with double the next player in created chances if he were to play the rest of the way. He's about 40 odd ahead now. He's surpassed the 100 mark. He has 73 chances created from open play, which is 26 more than any other player. So those set piece narratives, or the goals from set pieces, you can fuck right off with that. He's got 24 big chances created, which is, I think, 9 more than any other player. He's practically creating 1 every game, which is really unusual. He's close to having the all-time record for that in Premier League history. And that is only a recent statistic, I will say, but it speaks volumes to his creation. So another interesting one. So you were talking about how he played deep midfield. When he was doing that, he was leading through balls by a mile. He is still leading that despite switching to 10. So he's now tied with Adam Warren. Will probably not finish number 1. But it speaks to his influence no matter where he is. And so he's most key passes, which of course same as chances created. He's leading the Premier League in progressive passes for midfielders, most accurate passes into the penalty area, leading in shot creating actions, goal creating actions. So he created 23 chances in March alone, which is something I tweeted the other day. If he'd just played the 1 game, he would have had 8 chances created, which would have still been tied for 3rd, because second in March was 10. So he only needed 2 games to create the most chances. He leads all Premier League midfielders in multiple statistics. He broke David Beckham's assist record at United of 15 in a Premier League season, broke it with 25% of the season to go in the Premier League. He's the quickest Manchester United player to ever create 100 chances in a Premier League season. As you said, he's 5 away from the all-time Premier League record, which is more than within his reach. 5 in 7 games is certainly doable. If he could do it in some big games, that'd be fantastic, because I think those big games will really iron down the case. If he can perform against Chelsea, perform against Liverpool when the lights are brightest, which he has done this season as well. He absolutely destroyed City. He tied the big chances created in a game record. He had 8 chances created. So he's just leading so many numbers. The Player of the Month, as you said, he's pretty much sewn up the Playmaker Award, which is the most assists, most chances created across Europe's top 5 leagues in all competitions combined, even though he's only playing in the Premier League. And also
he has more open play chances created than any other player in Europe's top 5 leagues. So what are we talking about here? So people can go, there's more than this, just that. But isn't football ultimately about scoring goals and winning games? Also, no player's goals and assists have contributed to more points than Bruno Fernandes, and he's in range of breaking the all-time record for that. So I think he's second now. He surpassed Ronaldo. He's behind only one player now. So forgive me, H from the overlap has been posting the statistic. I can't remember. It's 31 points. I can't remember what he's on right now. He might be on 26. So it's more than within reach. Like, what else do you need to know? Like for me, I don't think he's ever been better than he is now, because while he's not quite the same player physically, he's not scoring as many goals because he's changed the way that he plays. He's never been smarter. And the best demonstration of this is if you watch him during the international break, watch the chances he created against Mexico, watch him before the play. He is just moving players like chess pieces. He knows exactly where they're going to be, and just happened that Ramos couldn't finish the chances. But when they played the US, that's exactly what they did. That brilliant back heel. He just knows he's always 2 steps ahead. And that's what I think has changed. Like, his set piece threat, he was never a massive set piece threat when he came. In fact, people were saying he should stop taking corners. Now, he's arguably the best corner taker in world football at the moment. So there doesn't seem like there isn't anything he can put his mind to that he won't achieve as a creator. And I think in recent Premier League history, because I think crossover comparisons are a dangerous thing, I don't think there's been a player as threatening since Kevin De Bruyne was in his prime. The difference between them is you could never count on Kevin De Bruyne to be fit. Bruno plays every single game. And, the hamstring, okay, I'm undoing this by saying about his hamstring injury, but he's also played less games than Rice and still achieved more. It's just...
Even the hamstring injury, though, like the miraculous recovery. We saw him get injured, and then it was like, oh my God, how are they going to deal with him? And then he was back, like
with 2 assists against Burnley. I don't know what more we need to see, but the thing that speaks volumes to me, such a divisive player during his career at United, like rivals, just universally hated by rivals, polarizing to his own fan base. The fact.
Do you remember before you go on that point? Do you remember when he didn't deliver in big matches? Do you remember when he didn't score against Big Six, or he didn't assist against Big Six? And we were talking about these assist numbers and how great it was. And then in Big Six matches, he was anonymous. If you're listening to this, I'm doing the thing with my fingers, quote marks. No, not the case anymore. Not the case anymore.
No, you can't say that for the last 2 seasons. And so that to me sort of says it all. To convert so many haters into believers, or doubters into believers, right? Both rivals and fans of the club. Because I think the thing is, when one player is so influential, some people just don't like that. They think it hurts the rest of the team. Personally, me, no. I still love the idea of footballing mavericks. I don't think everything has to be so system reliant. Sometimes you rely on the brilliance of your best players, and he is the best demonstration of that, because so many times they have needed a moment from him, and he has provided.
Yeah, to me, I think you're right in saying that he's changed his game. I think he has. I think, if anything, he used to frustrate, and like Rob used to talk on the podcast about him being a little bit more wasteful at certain moments, because he would always go for that. And he's openly admitted this. He would prefer to go for the killer pass than a safe one. And that is a reason why he ranks so highly in terms of the numbers that we're talking about now. And it sets him apart. But it also opens up interpretation of, well, he's very wasteful, and that brings detractors with it. But now things are working so well. And to me, he's got a little bit more selective with the passes that he makes, those killer passes. I think that's the difference that I've seen. But that's, again, open to interpretation. And I think now that since he's moved back into this number 10 role, and he's past 30 now, there's obviously arguments to be made about players on big contracts in their 30s and how much time you're giving them. I think Bruno, you only need to look at Mo Salah and the fall off from him, and the fact he's leaving Liverpool now, of the risks that can come with that when you give big contracts out. I think Bruno Fernandes, the profile and the attributes that he has, is not as big. It's not as big a risk to kind of prolong your stay with him, because of like he covers a lot of ground, yes, but he's never been known as the like speedy, explosive type. That's not his game. His game is about the brain. And if anything, you get smarter the older you get. And I think Bruno Fernandes can stay at the top for years to come, whether it's at United. Well, I'll ask you that in a second. But I think for me, he's at his best now. And I think there's plenty of time left for him to continue maintaining this level or getting better.
Yeah, I think I was saying this to, I wish I could remember who I was talking to about it. I think I was talking to someone who covers Portuguese football. And what I was saying, because he was talking about how brilliant he was at sporting and I was saying how I think he's evolved. And to me, he's very much on the Luka Modric pathway now, where he is so clever and he has never relied on his physicality besides the fact that he's incredibly durable and his endurance is just insane, is that he should get better with age. And I think we're seeing that. So to me, he's not your prototypical player who's turning 32 and shouldn't be considered that way because he's so unique physically.
Do you feel as though there's always been this question? There's this clause in his contract. Whether he wins the award or not this season, I think if United had maintained in being outside the Champions League places, not potentially being able to fulfill Bruno Fernandes' ambitions, I think we'll be having a different conversation at this moment in time. I don't know how you're going to feel about this or whatever, whether you feel like it's still a risk, but I was just a few months ago, I thought he would end up leaving. We know the Ruben Amorim, how much of a role he played in convincing him to even play for Manchester United this season. We know the offers that he's had in the past. There's talk that more offers could come this summer, and there's a clause in his contract which could potentially take him to another European giant, for example. How are you feeling about this at the moment? Do you think, or do you fear that Bruno Fernandes could leave this year? Has your feeling changed on this? Or do you feel as though United now are in not the best moment that they've been in with Bruno Fernandes there, because we've only seen like 10, 12 games under Michael Carrick and they've got to third place. They finished second before, but they've never challenged for titles. I personally feel now, with a few crucial additions, that they potentially can take that next step. This is what we should be expecting out of United. Do you think that will change what Bruno wants to do? And do you think he will stay here next season? What do you think the outcome will be?
First, I'd say is that he's more within his right to decide that it's time with everything that he's given. If they finish third in a really strong way in sort of the position they're in now, and the opportunity, I think, is there to push up the Premier League because of the shakiness of the rivals around them. So Chelsea imploding, Liverpool just having a lot of uncertainty, whether it's around Arne Slot or just the squad in general, and just not being the team that they were. Also with aging core stars that they've got to replace. And then City have so much uncertainty of their own. And Arsenal could win 3 trophies still this season. But it's not like they're not gettable. You know what I mean? So I think there's an opportunity to establish themselves back up the top of the Premier League. I'm not even saying title winners. I'm saying in the title race. Well, like you were saying, if they get the summer right, all of a sudden the context of things can change. So for me, what I'm doing is I'm selling Bruno Fernandes on that. And on the proviso that he wants to stay because they've made the Champions League. And maybe that's all it'll take. And be like, yes, I still want to be a part of this. The way that I see it is, as a player turning 32, obviously you can't build solely around him, but you build the rest of the squad around him while maintaining him. And what I would do is I would offer to turn that option into a guaranteed year. So just a 1-year extension with another 1-year option on top of that, with a slight increase in salary as recognition for what he's done and the player he's become. But also potentially the fact he's just won Footballer of the Year, but it's not simply a reward. It's recognition of his importance to the club and still the player he is now. And I think that player isn't likely to regress anytime soon. So it's not like he's going to be on a bloated salary. And I don't think in 2 years, should he decide to go, like when maybe it'll be time in a year or two. I don't think the time is now for sure. I don't see a massive risk in that. Other players at that age, you would say yes. I think Bruno is the exception to that rule. And I just don't think you let a player like that go. You do everything you can to keep him. And we already know in hindsight, and you've talked about this because you considered taking the money for him because of the position he was playing and the situation the club were in. And I think that is something important to remember, is not everyone just wanted him sold for the money. It was because if we're going to be playing this system, all that sort of thing. So I got to give you that proviso, because I've been very critical of people who wanted Bruno Fernandes sold, is that we couldn't have replaced him. And it would have been such a mistake for him to leave. So yeah, I really hope that he stays. Of course, I have that fear. I'll be devastated the day that he goes. But I think the club has finally righted the ship to the point that they have genuine reason to sell him on what the future looks like.
I think really the service that he's given to United, I still think his dream is to win the Premier League with Man United and big trophies. I'm not saying that they will, but they are going off a launch pad this summer, potentially, which could finally ascend them into that conversation. And we've talked about another podcast. If they get the midfield right, and it looks like 2026 is going to be the summer where they finally address it. If you get the balance right in there, you cover up the weaknesses of Kobbie Mainoo, because there are some. Hopefully you can iron them out and become a very well-rounded midfielder in the years to come. But if you have that defensive solidity behind Bruno Fernandes, and you can keep him in the 10 or give him a role where he can pop up wherever he wants, and that is part of your team, and you don't have to worry about behind you, I think this is a platform for him where that potential title is in reach within the space of his contract within 2 years. And it does align as well with the ambition to win the Premier League in 2028, which has been put out there for a while, has looked massively unrealistic at certain points over the last year or so. But now I feel like you can see that timeline actually might marry up if they keep getting decisions right and pile good decisions on top of good decisions. And Bruno Fernandes is the centerpiece of that.
Well, imagine the strength of the squad in, let's say they get most of the summer right, and 4 of the 5 signings are a success, hypothetically. And then you're adding to the squad again in the season that he's 32, turning 33. That squad should be contending for the title. That, without question, should be contending for the title. I think the way that this summer goes, on the proviso that they finish this, 85? I'm at the point where I'm saying 85% implied probability that they make Champions League. I can't expect them to qualify to challenge on 4 fronts, but I can, if they get the summer right, expect them to push up and be a fringe. Like we thought, like say Chelsea or Liverpool was going to be that 3rd team in the title race. That should be United next season. There's no reason why they can't go in thinking, maybe we'll have to prioritize certain competitions, or we won't be able to prioritize cups like at all because of the depth of the squad. They're really going to have to lean on the academy to fill out the fringes, but there's no reason with the current state of the Premier League and even the state of the Champions League. The state of the Champions League has shown us that there are very few competitions, very few clubs that can really win it when it gets down to the deep stages. The gaps between the best and the rest has never been bigger, I think. Whereas in the Premier League, the parity is more apparent. Yet there's no reason why in the next 2 seasons, at the very least by the 27-28 season, they be going, Project 2028, all of a sudden, makes a lot of sense.
It's nice to talk about positive things for once.
How much has changed for us?
It's crazy. In the space
8
of 3 months
since we were doing transfer pods. And then the 4 months of that, in the 5 months of that leading up to like when we were doing state of play in January. And the week before Amarim got sacked, I was like, I can't see any scenario where he doesn't finish out the season. And then he completely catapults himself out of the club. Fucking hell, Scott. It feels so great. It feels so great to be an like the never too high, never too low, like the optimistic fans that we are, to like feel like your optimism is warranted and you have like real cause for it instead of trying to sell hope.
Don't listen to the doom mongers out there. Don't listen to them. Just look at this project for what it is. And Bruno Fernandes is a big part of it. Me and Adam think I've used the word unequivocally in this, player of the season. I think that Adam thinks that this is obviously Manchester United supporter perspective as well. But I think the biggest compliment to Bruno Fernandes at the moment is the fact that finally everybody else realizes just how good he is. And there's no even getting away from it. So let's hope that he can end the season really well.
That others are saying it, and even Arsenal fans I've seen have said it, and they've copped lots of shit. There's a particular one who does Sky coverage who said it. I think it's Moneypenny. Alex Moneypenny. He's copped a lot of shit. If people are saying that says everything to me. Preaching to the converted.
Yes,
let's fucking go.
It's nice to see. And optimism, it's good. Let's hope that this can continue for the remainder of the season. Let's see how it unfolds. And if Bruno Fernandes can go and win Player of the Season, whether that's the FWA or the Players Player of the Season or both, let's see what happens. But Adam, thank you very much for joining me for the last couple of episodes. I will let you go now. We're only 11 minutes past the time that we agreed. But thanks so much. And there's another week or so of no United, but we get to watch FA Cup football. We get to watch Champions League, the return of it as well over the course of the next week or so. So there's stuff to sink your teeth into, even if United are off training out in Ireland or whatever. But let's see. Bruno Fernandes for Player of the Year for me and for Adam as well. Any final thoughts from you before we wrap?
No, it feels great. It feels great. I feel justified. Just feel like a Bruno day one. I was so excited when he signed to see the player that he's become, and so much more than we could have ever thought. And I think the question now is, not only is he the best player in the Premier League, where does he stand in world football? Hopefully at the World Cup, he gets to remind everyone of that. But then hopefully in the Champions League next season, on the grandest of stages as well, he can make his Ballon d'Or push.
We'll see. One step at a time. But anyway, thanks, Adam. We'll be back, or I'll be back for another episode of TPL soon. But enjoy your Easter break, everyone. If you're getting them, I know you will be enjoying chocolate over the next few days. Me too, probably. But yeah, thanks very much for listening and for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon for another episode of TPL. Thanks to Adam. Follow us. All the links are in the description. See you soon.